Welcome back to Casual Bias Rugby. Listen, we've done our previews. Well, later on in the week, we'll start talking about the actual breakdowns of the game. But we thought, listen, it's Monday. Not sure if it'll go out tonight or maybe tomorrow morning, but we'll do something fun. Obviously, I represent South Africa. We've got the lovely Rose once again representing England, and we're just going to have a little discussion about the predicted lineups for this weekend's encounter. Obviously, it's match week. Rose, welcome. How are you feeling?
I'm excited. I think this is going to be a fun little episode. Slightly random that we're doing England and South Africa, but it's countries we represent and we just want to have a little chat about it. This weekend of rugby is going to be absolutely immense, and I hope you guys are all as excited as we are because it's going to be so good.
Yeah, obviously, before we start, please do remember to like and subscribe. Obviously, there's been a couple of episodes posted out today with previews of people all around the world. So please do make sure to like and subscribe to the channel and actually go and watch those episodes because the people put in some hard work and they give in some interesting point of views. Now, Rose, I know you guys post your lineups from 15 till 9 and then from 1 till 8. But we are not going to be stupid, guys. So we're going to go front rows first.
No, I want to do mine in the proper English way.
No, that's silly because we're going to go front row for South Africa, front row for England.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yes.
I can do that.
So front row for South Africa. Now, the people, as I said, this is just a predicted lineup. This is not who we necessarily want to see, more just who we think we'll see. But we'll give our input in terms of who we want to see as well. I think it's pretty straightforward. I'm going Oxenche, Bongi Manambi, Frans Malherbe. I would have loved to have seen Ox on the bench and the likes of a Gerard Steenekamp from the Bulls to start. Just because Ox is one of those players, high impact, and you kind of need those guys like the bomb squad coming from the bench. But obviously, I don't think they'll give Steenekamp a debut starting as well. Marks has to start, in my opinion. Has to. If you have an injury, rather start him, take him off if he's struggling, because you don't want to bring a guy on if he's struggling. Then you just stuck in a rut.
You want your bomb squad to be reliable and up for it and to make an impact, and you can't really have an injured.
Yeah, of course. And then obviously Frans Malherbe. And the thing is, like Ireland, they'll probably play their starters because their drop off in quality is a bit higher. They'll probably try and extend the time that they play. So the likes of a Ty Furlong, Dan Sheehan, and Porter will probably play at least about 55 to 60 minutes. And we want our boys to literally drain them because our bench is, I would say our starters are better than the bench in terms of scrumming. So we'll have to really break those guys down at scrum time. And then the other boys from the bench can make the impact. That's just kind of the way that I see it. Would you agree to some extent? Or would you have said, listen, Marks goes to the bench? Or how would you approach it?
No, I do entirely agree with what you said. I think Mark starts just because of what you've said about his injury. You need the boys coming off the bench for South Africa particularly to be up for it, and you want to know that they're going to make an impact. With Marks, obviously, it's still a bit iffy considering he's just come back from injury. So
he's literally played one game since his injury, and that was against Wales, and he really struggled, to be fair. But we know the quality that he has, which is good.
Arguably the best hooker in the world.
Arguably, he is.
I think Dan Sheehan would have something to say about that. Will be an interesting.
Dan Sheehan's the best wing in the world.
Pardon?
Dan Sheehan's the best wing in the world. He plays like a winger. I will not accept him as a hooker. Anyway, Dan Sheehan is good, but their play styles is kind of incomparable. They're so different in the way that they play. Anyway, let's move on to the English front row. What are we thinking? Because obviously, we mentioned that the previous time we saw each other on the pod, and it was England struggled a bit against Japan when it came to scrum time. What are we thinking? Are you going changes from the Japan game?
Yes, 100%. And I loved our team for the Japan game, but I thought the front row particularly was an issue. And I think it is a bit of an emerging issue for England that we don't have two really, really solid props, because our older solid props, the like of Ellis Genge, they're kind of losing form a bit now. So it is something I think Borthwick needs to really consider, because at the weekend against Japan, we saw Bevan Rodd start and we saw Dan Cole start, and we saw how they got absolutely obliterated by a Japanese scrum, which isn't great. That a team known for being
I think Japan's physicality is maybe a bit better than we give it credit for, but still, you would have to win that.
They're known to be elusive and fast and attacking, not for their physicality. And to go from Japan to the All Blacks, whose physicality is definitely growing, the fact that we don't have really reliable props is a worry. And I think that's the part of our pack that needs the most work. So going off what we saw on last Saturday, I just don't think Bevan Rodd is the right choice for England at loosehead, unfortunately. And I would rather just start with Joe Marler, who we know is solid in the scrum, because I think if you're just giving away so many scrum penalties at the start of the game, we don't really have the depth in our squad to bring on a bomb squad, whatever. We can't have that 60-minute period where we're just giving away scrum penalties from these props that aren't big enough, they're not strong enough. Bevan Rodd's all right around the park, but I also think he's dropped off slightly in that sense as well, especially this season for Sale. So I would start Joe Marler. I would have Jamie George 100%. He's captain and he has actually been playing very well recently. And then it's tough for me because I do like Dan Cole, but I think I would start Will Stewart. So my front row for New Zealand would be Joe Marler, Jamie George, Will Stewart. I think that's the best way.
Do you think that's what Borthwick will go with as well? Or do you think he keeps it the same as Japan?
I think it's really hard. And you know what? We have other props in the squad, like the likes of Joe Hayes, who might get a look in considering the lack of success with the props when we play Japan. That's one area of the team that I really don't know which way it will go. I have a feeling he might keep it similar. I think he might start Dan Cole again and keep someone like Will Stewart on the bench. I also think
that you'll stick with Dan Cole. Dan Cole had a very good game in terms of the scrum against South Africa as well. He's got the experience. You don't want to throw in a couple of new guys going up against New Zealand. You kind of need that experience there. And something when it comes to scrum time, you can't just throw in another prop. It's a lot in terms of chemistry between the backs. So I think you might just keep it the same, but obviously you'll need to up your scrum game because that New Zealand pack is no pushover. They have gotten very, very good with the likes of Ethan de Groot, Tyrell Lomax, Tamaiti Williams. So that'll be a very interesting thing because when we think usually of England versus New Zealand, it's like the one team has the physical upper hand and the other team gets that flowing running rugby. And now it's kind of like, well, if you give New Zealand the physical upper hand and they're definitely going to have the running rugby upper hand, you might get absolutely spanked out here. So
no, it's scary. It's very scary. I'm just hoping our pack will dig deep. They'll find something inside of them with all the adrenaline that they didn't have during
your pack will be up for it. Your pack will be up for it. You'll be ready for it. I'm not too sure what the conditions will be like in New Zealand, but I'm sure it's still going to be cold. I wouldn't say rainy, but maybe a bit wet or whatever.
We're used to that. We like rainy.
That's what I was going to say. That kind of favors you. So that will be a great matchup. Moving on, second row, our locks. I think both of us probably know who we're going for. It's going to be Eben Etzebeth and Franco Mostert. And on your side,
Itoje and George Martin. It's pretty.
Yeah, they just speak for themselves, right? Eben Etzebeth, one of the best locks to ever do it. And Franco Mostert, I've been raving about this guy. That he's one of the most underappreciated guys in terms of just like he does all the dirty work. And I'm a guy that likes the guys doing dirty work around it because you see all these players doing these fancy stuff, or you get props that can offload or step or whatever. I want some guys on the field that make tackles. They're busy at every breakdown. They just try and disrupt some tempo of the game, and that's what Mostert does absolutely brilliantly. So, and remember, we had Loer Jager, and we always spoke about Loert and Eben being some of the best locks in the game. At the moment, respect to Loert, but you don't even think about missing him with the way
when he played for Sale. When we played for Sale, we were like, as as the English fans who supported Sale, we also used to have Jean-Luc Dupria playing a lock as well for Sale sometimes. He was kind of used everywhere in the forward pack. So sometimes we'd have Diego, don't pick me up on my pronunciation, and Jean-Luc Dupria. And Dupria was just always insane. And we were like, how is Lude in the Springboks pack and not Jean-Luc Dupria? I never rated him for Sale. I know it might have been different for the Springboks, but he just, like, I don't know, that's always confused me a little bit.
That's a big thing. You get guys that don't perform at club level, but when they put on that green and gold, it's a different animal that comes out of them. And as we said, the same for you. It just speaks for itself, right?
So
Mauro Torja and George Martin.
Yeah, obviously we've known for a while that Itoje has been class. He obviously did have that little drop-off period quite recently, actually, where everyone was like, I don't rate him anymore. He shouldn't be like a decided starter. However, I feel like he is pulling that back. He was great for Sarries last season. He's been really good for England in the last couple of games he's played. So I feel like he's back as a solid starter in the team. But just having the likes of a fairly young George Martin, how old is he? We looked at it the other day, like 21.
Yeah, 21, 22.
And he's
ridiculous.
He's so class. He's pretty big, and he's just like, it's so good for England, because we've been missing a really great lock to play beside Itoje for quite a while, and he fills that position very well. A bit like Mostert, you were saying, he just gets stuck in, he does the dirty work. He's like at every breakdown. He's great. So that is something very positive for England, and I think he's going to grow into an absolutely sensational player.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's absolutely class. Now, moving into the back throw, the Lucies, two positions for South Africa, pretty obvious. Rassie has come out and said, listen, Sia's still the captain. He's going to play 6, which is massive. Like, obviously, I've spoken about it before. Is Sia necessarily the best 6 in our country? I wouldn't say so. But is he the best captain? Yes. Does he lift the team? Yes. That's why he's so important. He might not be the best player, but he's he's vital for us in terms of the aura. I remember before the World Cup started, while he was still injured, our performances weren't that good, and we had a better 6 there in terms of Marco van Staden. But then just what Sia brings and how the people get behind him in our country and stuff, he just brings that aura and calmness, and he's a very, very good captain. He'll never play about 60 minutes. He always plays about 40 to 45 minutes, but he does enough on there. And having him, even when he gets subbed on the bench, still making calls and going through with everything, he's vital for us. So it will be Peter Steyn.
You even saw him during the, even though he wasn't playing, you even saw him during the Wales game on the sidelines, like getting people's energy up. He's just...
Yeah. And that's at Twickenham, so it's not even a home game for either team. And you could hear what the crowd was. The crowd was
cheering him. It was so loud for him.
Yeah. I mean, he's one of our country's heroes in terms of what he's done, what he's accomplished, and everything. And his whole story is so special. But yeah, to be truthful, I don't think he is necessarily the best choice for 6. But just everything that he brings to the table, you have to have him there. He's one of those guys that plays so differently for his country than he plays for his club. Like Racing 92's, owner came out and said he's been disappointed, but it was just like, we don't care. When he puts on that green and gold, he's a different animal. 7, it's got to be Pieter Steph du Toit, speaks for itself. But 8 is kind of a... Do you go Evan Roos? Obviously, Jasper Wiese in the squad, but he can't play because he's suspended. So it's like Kwagga Smith or Evan Roos. And Kwagga is that guy that I always say is the first name on the team sheet, but he goes straight to the bench just because of his impact. But then I'm thinking, like, with Jasper not there, I think this is finally the chance that they say, listen, okay, Kwagga, you taking that 8 jersey and making it yours, but Evan Roos kind of deserves it as well. So I'm just going to back my heart and say I want Evan, and that's why I'm going with Evan to start. So
you think he will?
No, I think Kwagga will, but it's like a 51-49. I do not know, because I can't see Evan playing from the bench. He's not a guy that's going to make an impact from the bench, in my opinion. He needs to start. It's just one of those guys. He's a wild dog.
Yeah, as far as our back three is concerned, I think we got it completely right. Borthwick got it absolutely right in the game against Japan, in my opinion. And I can see him doing the exact same thing again. We had Cunningham South at blindside, Underhill at 7, and then Bernal at 8. Obviously, there is a bit of questions around that, considering Tom Curry's come back from injury, and we all know what a role he's played in the England team over the last couple of years. So I reckon there's probably a bit of debate about whether he's going to start over Underhill. I don't suspect he will, just because he's newly back from injury. And when he came on against Japan last week, he gave away a penalty straight away. So we all know what Tom Curry's like. His discipline sometimes needs work, but I reckon it will stay the same because it worked really well. And like, our Lucies, as you call them, have been performing at level phenomenally recently. Underhill, the Bath this season, has just developed. So he's gone back to what he used to be. Like what we saw him as a few years ago, he just gone right back to that. He looks so on form. It's so exciting for England that we have that at 7 and we have those two options.
It's kind of like Borthwick has given him that confidence back in terms of backing him to say, listen, okay, that 7 jersey is yours and you're going to actually play a couple of games in that 7 jersey. Even if you struggle the 1 week, I'm backing you for the next week. And that's just grown his confidence, which has done him the world of good. That's what most players need, because you can't have guys just like playing here and there and expecting them to be world beaters. You need to give them time to settle into the system, and that's exactly what Underhill needed. He needed that backing, and that's what he's got. And I remember thinking, this guy is class watching the 2019 World Cup, and then after that, I was like, he's just disappeared. He's fell off the radar because it was him and Tom Curry. Now I'm again like, he's back and he's looking scary. He's good.
I mean, obviously Borthwick announced his first training squad for the summer series before the Prem final had happened. So it had excluded those clubs for the time being. And then you watched the Prem final and you watched Borthwick in the crowd and you watched the way that Sam Underhill played in that game and has played for Bath the whole season. You're like, there's no way he's not first of the Northampton and Bath players on that England team sheet. He, for Bath this season, has just been brilliant, just pure brilliance. And he looks like himself in 2019. It's just, I can't say enough how exciting it is. And I really do hope he gets picked to start against New Zealand. Because like you said, I think that will just grow his confidence even more. And he's just such an asset. He's such a threat. Yeah, it's exciting. I hope he gets picked.
And then 8th man, obviously, Bernal, right?
Oh, I didn't say Bernal, obviously, at 8. I mean, what a player. He's only
What's your opinion on him literally celebrating every small victory?
I know you don't like it. I don't mind it because I think sometimes it's good to have someone just pumping the team, even though it looks a bit ridiculous watching it at home. Sometimes you're like, that's a vast overreaction. But if you think about it, on the pitch, these players are in such an intense situation, and sometimes these little victories are good to just pump adrenaline in if they're celebrated. So I don't hate it.
I get it. I get it. But you have to keep it under control at points, because when you play against Japan in a friendly and you win a scrum, not scrum penalty, you win a scrum free kick.
Okay, that was
and you're celebrating like you just scored one of the best tries. That's what I'm thinking.
No,
because if you start celebrating for nothing, you get complacent. Yes.
No, that's not the point of it, and you know it. And we watched that game together, and it happened once, and you would not shut up about it. It was one time, and all he went was yes, like that, because they won a scrum free kick in a scrum that had been struggling previously.
Yeah, obviously, but they won the free kick before the engagement even. So it's like they didn't do anything for it. That's like celebrating someone having a knock-on or a forward pass from doing nothing.
I just don't think it's that deep. I don't think it's that deep. I think he can celebrate.
I think it's stupid.
Maybe I haven't heard any Japanese complaining about it. Just you, actually. Actually, just you.
Well, it is what it is. You were celebrating in the World Cup semi-final He didn't get to celebrate
Rightly
the one
so.
thing he should have
World Cup
celebrated.
semi-final. And it also, like, it kind of aggravates another team a bit because you can see, like, and I expect
fair enough. It does.
it reduces their confidence slightly.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't go as far as to say it reduces confidence. But okay, fair enough. Let's go straight to the English backline, because the South African one is a bit more. I don't know.
Can we do it 15-9?
You want to do it 15-9?
Yeah, because that's a proper way.
It's a bit brain dead, but fine. we'll do that. Okay. Then we're going South Africa. It's going to be Willie Leroux. It's going to be Cheslin Kolbe. It's going to be Kurtley Arendse.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's going to be the wings and the fullback, and they speak for themselves. Listen, I've been a massive advocate of Damian Willemse. Obviously, he's injured now, but Willie Leroux. Sorry,
you got a crush on him.
Yes, exactly. I think he's the best player in the world. I'm not even joking. He can literally do everything. Willie Leroux for the Bulls this season has been so good. Like, he's one of those players when he's not there, you will realize how important he was. Yes, he has flaws in terms of under the eyeball or defensively now and again, but his rugby mind and understanding the game and reading the game is just almost to another level. And you could see how much Damian Willemse's game has grown since being kind of under Willie Leroux and getting that coaching. So Willie is vital. And I'm so excited for him to grab that 15 jersey back again, see what he can do. Obviously, he's got two flyers next to him, try-scoring machines. What can I say? South African wingers with scrum caps, different breed, different animal. Anyway, let's go to your back three.
Well, I think I know what it will be. I'm not completely sure I agree with it, but at 15 it will be Furbank, and then you've got Tommy Freeman and Emmanuel Faye-Waboso. Now
he's good.
Oh,
he's so very good.
He's brilliant. Waboso 100%.
Like, we don't get the broadcasting rights for the Prem, but that guy, like, I've seen compilations and stuff on Twitter. Sorry.
I remember because I've seen him play live a few times, and I feel like then you really get a sense of it because he just like smashes through everyone. He's a winger, and it's just
like you can't tackle him. He just carries people with him.
I know, and I remember I saw him when Sale absolutely smashed Exeter. We put like 30 or 40 past him, I can't remember what, but he still, like, even when a team was losing by that much, he still looks better than any other player on the pitch, including the Sale players. What a player. England is so lucky that he didn't pick Wales because he could have done.
I mean, surely if you get a decision between Wales and England.
He stayed in England, I'm pretty sure, because he wanted to continue his degree. So also education.
He doesn't need to worry about that. He'll get good money if he keeps on doing what he's doing now.
So Waboso at 14, like 100%, he'll be picked. He's what the people want. He's just the right choice. I think that's pretty decided by every English person around. Now,
before you go to the other wing, I just wanted to because I forgot to ask you, like, obviously, do you think Steward has officially like lost his 15 role, his 15 spot?
I don't know. And I was thinking about this earlier. I feel so sorry for him because even though, fair enough, lately he's dropped form a bit, he has done so much for England. And I actually really don't think his time is up yet. Like, people are going, he's only reliable under the high ball. He can't do anything else. And then you have this Furbank figure. Furbank is great, but he also has his flaws. He drops the ball way more than Steward did. I don't care what anybody says. And he also concedes, like, he makes unnecessary mistakes. He's a great player and he's more of a runner than Steward. He's fast, he's more creative, he's got a bit more flair. But Steward is just like that reliable guy at the back, and everyone was going, he's not as reliable anymore. But like, if you watch him like play at club level and like whatever, he's still phenomenal. And I really hope
it's more system, don't you think? Just like maybe Furbank fits into the system a bit better.
Well, I know
in terms of just running the ball, attacking from behind.
I know what you mean because obviously we can see that England are developing their play at the moment, and we've gone much more on the attacking side of things. And Furbank, you're right, does fit that model better. But you also do need to have backs who are able to defend. And that's necessary. You need that for the success of a game, and Steward fits that role better. And that's never like an attribute that's going to go wasted. You're always going to need that against any team, which is why I don't think he should just be completely overlooked from now on. I think Furbank is going to be the starter for this particular series, but I mean, we'll see what happens in the Prem, and we'll see how he develops his game. I don't think this is the last we'll see of him. He's too young and he's got too much.
I think it all depends kind of who you play. I think if England were to play South Africa with the high ball threat, it's tough to break our defense. I'd go Steward all day long. It's just more of a threat. When it comes to that high ball security, whether it's in attack or defense. Obviously, are you going Freeman on the wing?
Yeah, so I think it will be Freeman.
Would you go Freeman?
I think my prediction is Freeman. I think the team against New Zealand is going to be very similar to the team that played Japan. Obviously, I've said a couple of things that might be changed, but I think it will be Freeman. I don't necessarily. I know this is very biased because I'm a Sale fan, but I want Tom Roebuck. I'm sorry, he's performed better in the Premiership. You watch him every game for Sale; he looks great. And continuing by my biasness, at 15, I want Joe Carpenter to get a look in. I don't care. I want him at least to be on the bench at some point against New Zealand, more so than Roebuck, because he's so good. He's so good.
They won't do that. You're not going to play against New Zealand in New Zealand and then give a guy a debut at fullback, because Furbank's just got that 15 jersey and he's been doing well there.
I know. And this is not my prediction. Like I said, my prediction is that the back three who will start will be Freeman, Weboso and Furbank. But in my ideal world, and this is obviously quite a biased opinion because I spend so much time watching Sale, but I know what Carpenter can do. That's my desire. It's not my prediction.
Yeah.
I think the prediction is...
Okay, let's go back to South Africa, because the people are here for South Africa.
No.
Okay. The centre combination, once again, just speaks for itself. It's going to be Damian de Allende. As you just mentioned with Faye Weboso, just like you can't bring him down. You just don't know what it is. The exact same goes for Damian de Allende. He's one of those guys who just carries like 10 players with him. One of those guys, I've always said it, one of the most underrated players ever that's played the game. Like, people think, okay, well, maybe he's a bit selfish, or he kicks when he shouldn't kick or whatever, right? He's been so vital for the South African team. And it's not that he didn't have competition. Played with John de Villiers, played with prime Roan Jansen van Rensburg, who people always said should be the 12th, played against Andre Esterhuizen, and yet every single time he comes out on top. That's just how good he's been. And then the same goes for 13. It's a guy that we've been judging for so long, saying, listen, we don't understand how this guy's a Springbok, Jesse Kriel. Yet he's one of the first names on the team sheet at the moment. He was by far the best outside centre at the World Cup. The way that he's transformed his game, he's found his rhythm, he's found his way of play. Even if Lukhanyo Am had a great season at the Sharks, which he didn't, but even if he did, he does not get above Jesse Kriel at the moment. That's just how good Jesse Kriel has been.
It's crazy that switch up that the Springboks have gone through at outside centre. Because a couple of years ago, if you had gone, we're going to drop Am for Kriel, people would have laughed at you. But it's so valid now. Just at the World Cup, because I obviously hadn't seen loads of him because I don't watch as much Southern Hemisphere rugby. But at the World Cup, he was phenomenal. You can't look past a talent like that.
Yeah, he's just found his feet. It's probably Jesse Kriel's probably the player that has matured the most in rugby that I've seen in a long time. Obviously, that's from a biased perspective because I watch more of him than of the other teams. But just thinking about it, he's played 2 or maybe even he's played 3 World Cups, but it's only been good the previous one. That's kind of how well he's matured now.
Just put in the work.
Yeah, he's absolutely brilliant. I wouldn't drop him for anything at the moment.
Yeah.
Who are you going on your centre pairing?
I think this, obviously I mentioned we have weaknesses in England at the moment. I think our front row is more of a weakness, and I think our other weakness is our centres, because we don't have loads of depth in that position, and the players we have currently aren't performing the way that they're performing at club level. Slade, I put straight in there at 13 because he had an amazing season for Exeter. He was player of the season for Exeter, I think.
I wouldn't be surprised. He was very good.
He was brilliant. So Slade, 100%. Now, obviously, we have Ollie Lawrence, this kind of fairly young talent. He's been around for a while. And the first couple of tests he had for England, it was like, oh my goodness, it's the second coming of Tuolangi. Like, people were going crazy about him. And since then, he's slightly dropped off. He didn't make much of an impact in the Japan game, and he didn't make loads of an impact in the Six Nations either. However, I would still start him over the likes of say a Dingwall, because I still do think he could develop to be this sort of Tuolangi figure, this like very physical, strong.
Yep. He's got the build.
Exactly. He's got the build, and also he's got that like aggressive mentality, because you see it in the Prem, and you see it sometimes for England. I think he maybe just needs a bit more playing time. I'm not really sure what it is with him, but yeah, I know, once again, guys, I am just naming basically the team against Japan, but like I said at the start, I loved the team against Japan, and as we saw, it worked very, very well. And I just think that there's not enough depth at the centre positions to be changing it up right now. And I think they are obviously still quality. So yeah, Lawrence and Slade.
Now moving on to our last combination, and this is pretty tough, right? Because I'm thinking South Africa will obviously, I can't see us going past a 6-2. I think we're going 6-2, try and beat them down physically. That's usually what we'll do. But then I'm thinking, if we go 6-2 on the bench and you're starting Faf and Andre Pollard, you are definitely going with Sasha as your, well, obviously a 9, which will be Reinach or whatever, and then Sasha on the bench, because Sasha can play inside center, can play fullback, and obviously he is a fly-off. But then on the other hand, I'm thinking we'll go 6-2 and maybe start Sasha and Reinach, because then if we want to secure the game at the end with big kicks and stuff, who better to bring on than Andre Pollard? Would you want to put a 21-year-old through that, where it's like, okay, it's game-winning kick after game-winning kick, grind them down?
He won't have the same confidence. The nerves will be getting to him.
Yeah, because then I wouldn't even be surprised if we go 6-2 with Faf and Andre on the bench, and then start the likes of Reinach and Mani Lebok. Because I wouldn't even be surprised about that, but I wouldn't want to see Mani at the moment, because he doesn't deserve that 10 jersey.
Yeah, I don't think.
Like, I truly believe Mani Lebok is underrated, but he was not good near the end of the season.
Yeah, but are they going to play Reinach and Lebok and then have Faf and Pollard on the bench? Because
it's going to be Faf and Pollard, and then Reinach and either Mani or Sasha.
Yeah, but so surely you have Sasha because he can cover multiple positions. Because otherwise you just got 9 and 10 covered.
If Pollard starts, Sasha's on the bench. But I wouldn't be surprised if Andre's on the bench. I wouldn't be surprised if they go Mani to start.
But then you only have 9 and 10 covered.
Yeah, but Andre can play inside center as well if you need him to and stuff.
Yeah, I guess.
That's the thing. That's the risk to reward. That's the risk you take. So if I had to play it safe, I'd probably say they're going Faf and Andre, and then have Sasha on the bench. It just makes a bit more sense.
Yeah.
But game situation, I would like to see Sasha start. Yeah. But fair enough. I'll rather play it safe in terms of what Rassie will do. Let's go Faf and Andre to start with Sasha and Reinach on the bench. That's not what I really want to see.
Yeah, no, that makes sense though. With our 9 and 10, it's a lot easier. Especially for number 9, there is no one else really who's going to get a look in apart from Alex Mitchell. He obviously won the Premiership for England. I think there was a study that came out that like timed speed of ruck ball and all of these different like elements of what a number 9 has to do. And Alex Mitchell was just so far above any other English nine.
He's brilliant.
Every
He's
category.
brilliant.
And you just watch him play, and like the speed of the ball is so much faster. He's so great. He will start at 9.
The first time that I saw Alex Mitchell was actually actually noticed him was in that game against South Africa in the semi-final. And I thought, this guy, I've never heard of him, but his box kicking is elite. He controls the game so well.
Yeah.
He kind of reminded me of a guy that just plays quicker than Conor Murray, but kind of his play style, because it's just pinpoint accuracy, the way that he plays.
Yeah,
Bit more snipey, obviously, better quick ruck ball and things like that. But his box kicks was so good. And since then, he's world-class 9, in my opinion. And he's got
non-biased. I think he's top 3 9 in the world right now.
I wouldn't go that far. Maybe top 5.
No, I would go top 3.
Dupont, Gibson Park, and then, well, obviously this might sound biased, but then Reina. I think Reina. Reina is
a guaranteed start for his international team. No, we're not going Reina.
Reina is absolutely.
Nah.
TJ Perenara, that's just come back. Aaron Smith, well, obviously he's retired now, but
exactly. It would be Smith, but he's not playing. You told me the other day, now they won't know this, but you told me the other day, if we can have Mitchell for the Springboks, I'd take him like that. So do not tell me that you'd have Ryan. No, you said that's not what you said.
Above. Anyway, that brings us to the end of the video. Just tell them Marcus Smith starting.
Yeah, Marcus Smith. But Finn Smith is obviously a good second man to have on the bench. But Smith is the right man. Like, he's England's future. I love him.
Would you go 5-3 on the bench or 6-2?
We'll go 5-3.
So it'll be your backs on the bench.
Probably Harry Randall. I reckon Harry Randall, Finn Smith, and then whoever bought. It was Tom Roebuck last week. It could be anyone, to be honest. I'm not sure whether it will be Roebuck, even though I would like to see it. But we'll see.
Fair enough. Anyway, Rose, as always, thank you. It was lovely having you on. People, do remember to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching if you got through all the way. We appreciate each and every one of you guys. This was just a bit more of a fun one, just laid back, just a little chat about who we think we will see for our country. We will see you next time. Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.